Go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you would, please rise. If you would, please join me in prayer. Father, we thank you for this day, and Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. Father, we just pray for your wisdom, that you would give us the wisdom during this meeting. And Father, we also pray for our first responders, Father, that you keep them safe and bring them to their homes tomorrow safely. Father, be with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. This time, Councilmember Graff will lead us in the pledge.
Join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And to our state flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, and one indivisible.
Legally.
Okay, we do not have any proclamations, awards, or presentations, so we will move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion? So moved. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, move to other council actions. We'll consider award of contract for the roof repairs for 5 city structures. There he is.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. This agenda item is to consider the award of bid for 5 roofs for city structures. We put this out for bid. We had 19 vendors pick up the bid packet, and we received 5 bids. So we did get good pricing, and we did get these bids under the allotment that we received from our insurance vendor. So we did save some money there. The buildings included are Fire Station number 6, Sherwood Park, the Utilities Lab, the Parks, Utilities, and Solid Waste Administration Building, and Fire Station number 5. The award of contract would be with MRB Contractors for a total of $423,110. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions?
And all this was covered by insurance?
Correct, yes, sir.
Good.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Philip. Next, we'll go to public hearing. We'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request of LECO Energy Investments. Mr. Brindley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The city mailed out 31 notices related to this request. We had 1 notice returned. We did not receive any negative response for the request, and we did receive 3 written approvals. The property involved in this request is located west of the intersection of East Ridge Road and Parks Legato Road. This site is zoned office. It is currently vacant. Land use in the area does consist of residential development, office development, and related uses, and vacant land. The applicants in this case are LECO Energy and Investments. They own the property, and Jennifer Minyard is the optionee. The request is for a specific use permit that would allow a custom personal service facility, and in this case it'd be a salon and boutique, to be located on the property. And the site plan has been submitted. It does indicate the location of a 3,000 square foot building and 15 parking spaces, and these do meet ordinance requirements. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request with the following conditions. The hours of operation would be limited from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any proposed signs would need to meet ordinance requirements. Noted that the building setbacks and parking do meet ordinance requirements. The City of Odessa's landscape ordinance will need to be met. And a copy of the joint access agreement between lots 38 and 39 will need to be provided. Also, there would be a review of the permit upon receiving any neighborhood complaints. This would be considered a temporary permit, and the council would have the right for termination for any violation of the terms and conditions of this permit, or as a result of a negative effect of this use on the surrounding neighborhood. And this would occur after appropriate public hearings. And also adoption of this site plan. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions from council? Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this point I will open up the floor for anyone who would like to comment on this agenda item. If you would, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3, we'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request of SMBC Leasing and Finance. Mr. Brindley.
Yes, sir. The council did approve this request on first reading back on March the 27th of this year. The property involved in the request is located east of the intersection of South Faudree Road and Interstate 20. Site is currently designated future development. It is occupied with industrial development and related uses. This is the FMC Oilfield Services facility. Land use in the general area does consist of industrial-related development and uses. The applicant is SMBC Leasing and Finance. They do own the property, and the purpose of this original zoning request to PDLI is to facilitate expansion of the existing use and facilities on this property. The proposed original zoning is not contrary to the established land uses in this area. It is industrial development and related uses. It's not contrary to the land use plan of the city's comprehensive plan, nor is it contrary to the LECO Industrial Tracts Master Plan. The proposed original zoning is not out of scale with the needs of the city or this neighborhood. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval to the request with the following conditions: that development standards, which would include building setbacks and building height, things of this nature, would meet the conditions that are required in the light industrial zoning district, and also land uses would include the uses that's allowed in light industrial, with the exception of sexually oriented businesses, and also curb and gutter would not be required for this development. And be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions from council?
This is for the counseling, to expand the counseling services office?
No, ma'am, this is for the FMC industrial development that's out on adjacent to Interstate 20.
Any more questions? Okay, well, this is a public hearing, so at this time I will open up the floor for anyone who'd like to comment on this agenda item. If you would, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Brindley.
Thanks, sir.
Next, item 4, we'll open the public hearing and consider the ordinance continuing the offenses provisions of Chapter 8, Article 8-3, Sections 8-3-31. Chief Kirk.
Good evening. This ordinance is necessary to continue the juvenile curfew ordinance, which was enacted in 1997. The goal of the juvenile curfew ordinance is to reduce juvenile crime, reduce victimization of juveniles, and to provide an alternative solution to dealing with gang violence. The curfew seems to have been effective in reducing crime during the last 21 years. A few highlights of the curfew are that the ages affected by the ordinance are those individuals aged 10 to 16. The hours of the ordinance, Sunday through Thursday, are 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. Friday and Saturday, it's a 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m. And basically, people in those age ranges cannot be in public places such as parks, streets, or movies. And there are several exceptions that go along with this, such as if they're in the company of their parent or guardian, they're obviously okay. If they're on an errand for their parent or guardian, they're okay. If they're engaged in interstate travel, involved in emergency, engaged in an employment activity, a school activity, a church activity, all those things are exceptions to this rule. Last year, we wrote 143 citations for curfew violation. And also, please consider that Midland, San Angelo, Amarillo, and Lubbock all have curfews. I'll take any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Chief Gerke? Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this time I will open up the floor for anyone that'd like to comment on this agenda item. If you would, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Next, under miscellaneous, we've moved to appointments of boards. Mr. Grimaldo.
For the Tax Incentive Committee, reappoint Willie Taylor and Gus Ortega. For the Community Development Advisory Committee, appoint Stan Galarza. For the Ector County Appraisal District, appoint Barbara Graff.
And the Historic.
Historic, Norleen McBride, Jay Tillapal, and Grace King.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Secretary, do we have any cards?
No, sir.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We stand adjourned.